What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, it looks like Richard Schaefer of Golden Boy Promotions has stated that he is trying to get the deal done between Danny Swift Garcia and Lucas Martin, the Machine Matthysse. Please, boxing gods, make this fight happen. It's a fight that people want to see. Um, Very reminiscent to Guillermo Rigondeaux and Nonito Donaire in the sense of there was always been chatter of this fight on different levels. Um, the 140-pound division has always been a stacked, well, not always, but as of recently, has been stacked division. People have always brought up this fight. People have brought up the Adrian Broner fight, but if you look how everything is panned out, Broner moved up past the 140 division, went to 147. He had a competitive, tough fight with Paulie Malignaggi, so we don't know what he'll be doing. Um, Amir Khan is moving up to 147 and possibly facing Devin Alexander. Um, Josecito never came back to 140 from 147, and then he moved up to 154 versus Canelo. Lamont Peterson got TKO'd by Lucas Matthysse. Brandon Rios lost his last fight against Mike Alvarado, and now he's facing Pacquiao. So, realistically, the only fight out of all those matchups that have were being made that make sense still is Lucas Matthysse versus Danny Garcia. Why? Because Danny Garcia is undefeated. He still keeps winning. He's won all of his fights, and so does Lucas Matthysse. Lucas Matthysse only has two blemishes on his record, and arguably, depending on who you talk to, some people think those blemishes shouldn't even be there. The Zab Judah fight was closer. I think Lucas Matthysse definitely did enough to beat Devin Alexander, and he was given the hometown decision because the fight took place in St. Louis, where Devin Alexander is from. So this is a fight that the fans have wanted to see for quite some time, and it still makes sense. Again, some of these other fights, some of these other matchups, like um, Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios, that wasn't likely to begin with because of the promotional Cold War, Top Rank, and Golden Boy. And Rios is moving on to fight Pacquiao, so that's out of the question. Broner's in another weight division for right now. But the fight that immediately makes sense and can be made is Golden Boy versus Golden Boy. That's Lucas Matthysse versus Danny Garcia. And both fighters have looked good in their last couple of fights, and they keep winning. So it makes me mad that this is a fight that can be made, but it's taking longer to get made. Not necessarily on behalf of the fighters, but based on politics. The politic is, as of recently, Al Haymon started managing Lucas Mathisse's career. He was already in charge of Danny Garcia's career. Now we get into the politics. It's not like, oh, one fighter's Golden Boy, one's Top Rank, and they don't see eye to eye. These fighters are both under the Golden Boy umbrella, under the Golden Boy banister, but they have the same mentor boxing manager, which is Al Haymon. Now, from a business perspective, I could see why Al Haymon wouldn't want his two top dogs facing, and that's one of the problems that boxing is involved to. We're dealing with a lot of politics. So from a business perspective, I can see why Al Haymon. I mean, why would you want your two top dudes fighting? That's like um, Miami Heat. You got Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, the two top players. You don't want one of the players to be traded if you're Eric Spoelstra. Um, why would you want that? You know what I mean? You want strength in numbers. You would want both of your people generating money and interest. So you wouldn't be in a real rush to pit them against each other. But this is a fight that makes sense, and it's really the only fight that makes sense at 140 for these. I feel even though boxing is a business, you still have to respect the fighter's career, the fighter's legacy. What is the point of Danny Garcia pretty much being the linear champion and getting belts, and Lucas Matthysse walking through guys and winning if he can never reach a pinnacle based on politics? He can never get an actual title shot. Right now, he has the interim belt. He fought Lamont Peterson, ran through Peterson, but Peterson's belt wasn't on the line. Peterson got a belt from Amir Khan, even though he tested positive for steroids. and Lucas Matthysse wasn't even eligible to get that belt because they made the fight at a catch weight. So it gets to a point to me where it pisses me off, and it really doesn't make sense for these fighters. I understand a business, and obviously, you would want to make business decisions and protect your investment, but it gets to a point where I think you almost do your fighters a disservice. Again, Lucas Matthysse, he has the two losses, but they were arguable losses. And other than that, he's been running through people. He's game. He's putting everything out there, and he's entertaining, and he's fighting whoever you put in front of him. Awkward person like Humberto Soto that nobody wants to fight, or excuse me, like a Jose or even Humberto Soto. Nobody wants to fight these guys. He'll fight him. Lamont Peterson, difficult fight. He'll fight him. Lucas Matthysse is game. So again, I feel like promoters and boxing managers really look at the fighter's career and their legacy, and to me, it's kind of doing a disservice if this fight isn't made, because what's the incentive for Lucas Matthysse to have the record he has, have the resume he has, keep winning, if he can never get the cream of the crop type fights based on politics? Either one fighter's with another promotional company, or the fighter that's with the same promotional company, he can't fight him because they don't want that person's belt at stake, or he can't fight him because they're managed by the same promoter. I just feel like it's always some kind of loophole, and it's pretty unfair for both fighters, both Lucas Matthysse, again, for having two questionable losses, and he can't really get the true respect he deserves because they won't make the fight. I'm not saying they won't. Hopefully they do make the fight, but as of right now, it's taking longer than it should. Same thing with Danny Garcia. I mean, he's young. People want to see what he's made of, and he really has the opportunity to silence all the critics. If Danny Garcia can convincingly beat Lucas Matthysse, who's been walking everybody down and knocking everybody out, and has one of the highest, if not the highest, KO ratio in the sport of boxing out of active fighters against good competition, then it's doing an injustice to Danny Garcia. I mean, this is something for his legacy. This is, the fighters say they want to fight the best, but based on politics, they're not always given that opportunity. And that's what pisses me off about the sport of boxing. I dig it. I understand the boxing aspect, the business aspect, but I also feel sometimes you get these big wigs in companies, whether it's Target or Lowe's or whatever company it is, Golden Boy, and they make certain decisions, and it really doesn't do justice to their employees, and in this case, their boxers. Their boxers are their employees, basically. And it just is, it's pretty sickening that the sport of boxing has evolved into this. And I also think this. I think Lucas Matthysse and Danny Garcia, if this fight happens, win or lose, it's really going to help both fighters. I mean, if Danny Garcia got knocked out by Lucas Matthysse, okay, it'll obviously elevate Lucas Matthysse to another level in terms of popularity. But people will probably give Lucas or Danny Garcia credit for stepping in the ring with Lucas Matthysse and putting his belts on the line. And I don't really think it will hurt him. He's still young enough where he can bounce back. It's not like Pacquiao or somebody who just got brutally knocked out and they're aging. So Danny Garcia can bounce back from a tough loss, even if he got knocked out. And it shows he has a chin, so who knows if he'll get knocked out. It's possible. And same thing with Lucas Matthysse. Lucas Matthysse, people aren't going to not like Lucas Matthysse because Danny Garcia beat him. If Danny Garcia were to beat him, they'd be like, okay, this dude fought everybody. He was knocking everyone out, and then he fought someone he couldn't. So for the people like Al Haymon, if you're watching this, if you have like minions that watch this, make the fight. Make the fight happen. Fans want to see it. It makes sense. It's the best, in the best interest of both fighters. And there really is no loser, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of boxing fans' opinion. There's really no loser. If this fight happens, there's no loser. I think we're all winners because this is a fight that everyone's demanding, everyone wants to see. And they're even talking about putting on the Mayweather-Canelo undercard, which will be even huge. They're trying to hit record-breaking numbers. If they can pull that off, then props to Golden Boy. They're also talking about having Victor Ortiz on the Canelo Mayweather undercard. So big stuff in store. Hope these negotiations actually amount to something in this fight is made. And if they could put it on the Mayweather Canelo undercard, I just see record-breaking numbers. Let me know what you guys think. Boxing Politics, Lucas Matthysse versus Danny Garcia. What do you think of this fight? Who wins? As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.